Chosen one. Heaven has paused for you. Not for your neighbor. Not for your friends. Not even for the world, but for you. The atmosphere around your life is holding its breath. The angels are watching, not in silence, but in anticipation of your next move. You have been praying, crying, waiting, fasting, whispering into the midnight wind, "Lord, what do you want me to do?" But now, heaven whispers back, "Stop praying, start doing." Oh, you have reached a divine moment where the heavens are no longer waiting for your words, they are waiting for your obedience. You have asked, and God has answered. You have wept, and He has heard. Now, all creation leans forward, watching to see whether you will walk in what He already told you. Every delay, every hesitation, every "I'm not ready yet" has become resistance disguised as reverence. Listen carefully. Heaven's silence right now is not abandonment. It is confirmation. God has already spoken. Now He watches for movement. You have prayed for signs, but the signs were already sent. You prayed for strength, but strength is released when you start walking. You prayed for clarity, but clarity is born in motion, not in idleness. Chosen one. This message did not find you by coincidence. It found you because heaven arranged a collision between your destiny and your delay. There are moments when eternity interrupts the ordinary, and this is one of them. Heaven has pressed pause on everything around you, so you can finally step forward in obedience. The Apostle reminds us in his letter to James, chapter 1, verse 22, "Be doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves." And do you see it? The word calls you to do, not merely to hear. This is the hour when your faith must graduate from feeling to fulfillment. God is not impressed by eloquent prayers that never leave the lips. He moves through obedient hearts that dare to act. Heaven's power does not flow through noise, it flows through movement. You are the one who carries divine blueprints that cannot stay locked inside your mind. Your obedience is a key, and heaven is watching to see if you will turn it. The instruction you've been avoiding, that instruction unlocks everything. Do not think heaven will speak again until you complete what was last spoken. You keep asking for a new word, but God is waiting for an old obedience. He is not silent because He has nothing to say. He is silent because you have not yet acted on what He already said. Every prayer you prayed brought you here. Every tear you cried watered the soil of this moment. The silence you've been hearing is not punishment. It is a divine pause, giving you room to choose. You stand between the comfort of prayer and the call to purpose. That pull in your chest, that trembling inside, it's not anxiety, it's divine urgency. It's the Spirit stirring you, saying, "Move now, act in faith." The next chapter of your life is not written by your words, but by your steps. This is the moment where you stop saying, "Lord, please," and start saying, "Lord, I will." You have authority to break the cycle of endless waiting. You have the power to turn prayer into performance, faith into footsteps, and hope into harvest. The atmosphere responds to action. The heavens open to obedience. Even the demons that tormented your peace will scatter the moment you start walking in what God already revealed. Obedience terrifie darkness. Your doing is your declaration. Chosen one. Heaven is calling your name. You have prayed enough. The waiting season is over. Your next breakthrough is tied to your next move. It is not coming through another intercession, it is coming through implementation. So here's your call, like this message right now, as a public declaration that you are stepping into obedience. Share it with someone who has also been stuck in someday. Leave a comment below with the prophetic number 770. 7, the number of divine completion, signifying that you are ready to finish what God started in you. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to this channel to stay aligned with prophetic instruction that awakens destiny. From this moment forward, your life will no longer be defined by waiting, it will be defined by doing. Heaven has paused for you. Chosen one. But that pause is ending. The moment your feet shift, everything shifts. This is your sign. This is your instruction. This is your time. Stop praying. Start doing. When you move, heaven moves. When you act, doors unlock. This is not just another message, it is your divine summons. Obey now, and watch destiny unfold before your very eyes. You've prayed enough. Every tear you've cried has already been counted. Every word you whispered in the darkness has already reached heaven's throne. There is not one sigh that escaped your lips unnoticed. Yet here you stand, still asking for what has already been answered. The heavens are not deaf, they are waiting for your obedience to speak louder than your prayers. There is a sacred moment when the heavens close their ears to repetition and open their eyes to action. That is the moment you are standing in now. You have prayed over the same dream, the same wound, the same fear, as though the sound of your voice could make God change his mind. But he is not silent because he is ignoring you. He is silent because he has already spoken. You say, God, why haven't you moved yet? And heaven whispers, because you haven't. You want to see rivers part, but you will not lift your foot to touch the water. You want to see walls fall, but you refuse to march. The miracle has never been waiting on God, it has always been waiting on you. You prayed for strength, but strength is forged in obedience. You prayed for courage, but courage comes alive only when you step into the unknown. You prayed for purpose, but purpose is discovered in the act of doing. God's promises are not ornamental, they are operational. They work only when you move in faith. Remember how many nights you begged for a sign. How many times you said, Lord, just show me what to do. And yet, deep down, you already knew. The instruction came in a whisper, in a scripture, in a conversation that pierced your heart. You knew exactly what he wanted, but you wanted a gentler route, a safer confirmation. Heaven will not repeat itself until obedience becomes your answer. The Spirit spoke once and then waited, not because he lost interest, but because he honors your free will. He will not drag you into destiny, he will invite you. And now that invitation lies before you, glowing like fire on the altar of your heart. You can either walk toward it or walk away, but you cannot stand still any longer. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 15. Why do you cry to me? Tell the children of Israel to go forward. That was not a suggestion. It was a divine command. The sea did not split while Moses prayed. It split when he stretched out his hand. The water moved when the people moved. Heaven responds to forward motion, not frozen faith. The same power that parted the Red Sea is still alive within you, but it will not be activated by endless pleading. It ignites through trust that acts. The heavens are not waiting for your next prayer. They are waiting for your next step. God has already given you the blueprint, the vision you see when you close your eyes, the burden that won't let you rest. The calling that refuses to fade, all of it is instruction in disguise. You keep asking, Lord, what next? But heaven keeps answering, the last thing I told you. When you obey what he already said, the next direction unfolds naturally. Obedience is the language of revelation. When you move, light expands on your path. When you stall, darkness thickens. It's not that God hides his will, it's that his will only appears to those who are walking toward it. You have not been denied, you have been delayed by indecision. Every time you postponed action, you postponed breakthrough. Every time you asked for a clearer word, you dimmed the light of the one already given. Faith is not waiting for proof, it is walking without sight. The ones who move in faith see the impossible bend to their steps. Do not mistake comfort for peace. The comfort of waiting can feel holy, but it is often the disguise of fear. True peace is born from alignment. And alignment happens when obedience meets instruction. You will never feel fully ready. You will never have all the answers. You were never meant to. God doesn't require your perfection. He requires your participation. Heaven's silence right now is not absence, it is trust. It means God believes you are capable of walking out what he already said. When a teacher stops talking, it's not because the lesson is over, it's because the test has begun. And you, chosen one, are being tested in motion. You are standing before the sea, staff in hand, the wind of heaven pressing against your back. You can stay and keep praying for it to part, or you can lift your hand, step forward, and watch the impossible yield to obedience. The next move is yours. Faith that moves is not faith that waits. It is not the kind that sits quietly, whispering, maybe one day. It is the kind that acts before it sees. You have spoken to God long enough. Now God is speaking through circumstances, urging you to move. Every delay you feel, every door that seems closed, is not rejection, it is redirection toward obedience. The kind of faith heaven honors does not stop at prayer. It builds, it risks, it steps forward when logic says, stop. You've said, I'm waiting for the right moment, but the right moment is waiting for you. Heaven has already arranged the path, you simply need to walk it. The Apostle Paul wrote in his second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 5, verse 7, For we walk by faith, not by sight. Walking by faith is the art of trusting the unseen map of heaven. It means stepping when there is no visible path, speaking when you don't yet have the words, acting even when fear clings to your shadow. You do not wait until the fear leaves. You move until it can no longer follow you. Faith is not the absence of fear. It is movement in spite of it. There comes a time when your spirit must confront your doubt. You have prayed, Lord, give me faith. But God's answer has always been, use the faith you already have. Seeds do not grow by being admired. They grow when planted. Likewise, your faith will not grow while you hold it. It grows when you use it. Heaven has deposited enough strength in you to take the first step. Every miracle begins with one act of faith, one small motion that tells heaven, I trust you more than what I see. The waters don't part for the fearful, they part for the obedient. Faith that stands still eventually fades, but faith that moves becomes fire. You are not waiting for the wind to change. Chosen one, the wind is waiting for your step to command its direction. Every time you act in faith, the natural bends to the supernatural. Doors that refuse to move will recognize your authority. Chains that felt immovable will shatter under the pressure of your decision. You don't need to see the entire staircase. You only need to take the first step. God never required you to have the full plan. He only asked for your yes. And that yes is not a word, it's a walk. The heavens are not waiting for your confidence, they're waiting for your commitment. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay. What you've been waiting for is not late. It's waiting for your obedience to unlock it. The vision will not run without you. It was written for you to walk into. Now listen carefully. This is the moment to respond, not just emotionally, but prophetically. If your spirit feels this word burning within you, type these words below. I will move. SB. When you write it, you are not just typing letters on a screen. You are stepping into covenant. You are telling heaven, I'm done waiting. I'm walking now. That comment becomes your first act of faith, your physical response to a spiritual call. Every time your finger touches those keys, it echoes in the invisible realm, saying, you choose obedience over delay. So type it with intention, not as routine, but as a declaration that the waiting season has ended and movement has begun. Your words have creative power. When spoken in faith, they shape reality. Heaven always honors action birthed from trust. So as you declare, let the old hesitations die. Let every fear bow. Let every delay lose its grip. Because in this very moment, your obedience becomes the signal that heaven has been waiting for. You've prayed long enough. You've waited long enough. Now, faith demands movement. Step, even if it trembles. Speak, even if your voice shakes. Act, even if your knees bend. Heaven never blesses stillness that disobeys it, blesses obedience that risks. The faith that moves mountains begins with a whisper of action, and that whisper begins right now. When you move, heaven moves with you. Every step you take becomes a spark in the darkness. The unseen world shifts in your favor, aligning opportunities you never imagined could open. So type, I will move as your covenant. Let heaven record your obedience. This simple act is not digital, it's spiritual. It tells the unseen, I'm stepping into destiny. Right now, when stillness becomes disobedience, it happens quietly. It doesn't begin with rebellion or pride. It begins with hesitation. You tell yourself you're waiting on God, but in truth, He's waiting on you. The longer you delay, the more subtle the deception becomes. You convince yourself that inactivity equals patience. But heaven calls it resistance in disguise. Disobedience does not always roar it, often whispers, not yet. It hides behind reasoning, planning, and fear. It disguises itself as caution. But caution has never opened a single door of destiny. Every story of divine breakthrough in Scripture began not with comfort, but with courage. Obedience is never easy because it costs what comfort promises to protect. You have heard God clearly before. The instruction wasn't complicated, it was costly, and that cost frightened you. You prayed for confirmation, for signs, for a voice that would erase the risk. But what if heaven's silence was confirmation enough? What if the very absence of a new word is proof that you already have what you need to act? The Spirit spoke through the prophet Elijah, recorded in the first book of Kings, chapter 18, verse 21. How long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. Oh, this question still echoes through time. It pierces indecision like a sword. How long will you wait? Is heaven's question for you. You cannot stand between the altar of faith and the chair of fear. Eventually, one will consume you. The longer you delay obedience, the heavier disobedience becomes. There is a point where stillness transforms into rebellion. You begin to lose sensitivity to the Spirit's prompting. What once convicted you now feels comfortable. The pull you once felt begins to fade. And yet, even in mercy, God waits. He doesn't abandon the disobedient heart. He invites it to remember. You may tell yourself, I'm still praying. But the truth is, your prayer has become a shield against action. Every time you say, I'm not ready, heaven hears. I don't trust you yet. It is not that God demands haste. He demands heart. He desires faith that obeys, even when it trembles. Stillness has its place. There are seasons when waiting is holy. But once God gives an instruction, that same stillness becomes the very chain that binds you. Heaven blesses prayer before the instruction. But after the instruction, heaven blesses movement. You must learn to recognize when the waiting season ends. The signs are subtle. The restlessness in your spirit, the dreams that won't let you sleep, the constant pull toward what you keep postponing. These are not coincidences, they are heaven's reminders. There are angels assigned to your obedience, and they cannot move until you do. You've asked God for acceleration, but He cannot accelerate what hasn't begun. He multiplies steps, not stillness. You can't steer a motionless ship, and heaven will not steer a motionless heart. Obedience is not always about understanding, it's about alignment. God often gives direction that doesn't make sense until you act. Abraham didn't understand where he was going until he started walking. Noah didn't see the storm until the ark was finished. Faith always looks foolish before it looks powerful. Do not let fear of failure disguise itself as wisdom. The greatest danger is not in moving too fast, but in never moving at all. Heaven can redirect a moving soul. It cannot resurrect a stagnant one. The grave of potential is filled with people who waited too long for clarity. And you've told yourself, if God really wanted me to, He would push me. But God doesn't push, He calls. His voice does not force, it invites. That is why delay becomes disobedience, because His kingdom operates on invitation, not compulsion. He will not override your will to make you obey. When stillness stretches beyond its season, it becomes a spiritual drought. Joy fades, vision dims, passion weakens. You start confusing peace with numbness. But even in this dryness, God extends grace. He whispers again, move, and I will meet you on the path. End of true. Obedience is the bridge between what you prayed for and what you were born for. Every time you hesitate, that bridge weakens. Every time you step, it strengthens. Heaven is not waiting for perfection, it's waiting for progression. You already know what He said. You already feel what He is asking. The question now is not, will God speak again? The question is, will you act on what he already said? Because faith without obedience is like a seed that never leaves your hand. It looks alive, but it never grows. Stillness was once your shelter. Now it is your test. And heaven is watching to see whether you will cross from hesitation to holiness through one word, yes. There is something sacred about remembering the last instruction. It is often the quietest command that carries the loudest consequence. God rarely repeats himself because his first word is always enough. And yet, we ask again, hoping the second time will sound easier, gentler, safer. But heaven's tone never softens truth. It strengthens courage. You remember that moment, don't you? The last thing he told you to do. Maybe it was to forgive someone. Maybe it was to begin something you've been afraid to start. Maybe it was to let go of something you've been clinging to. You prayed for change. But the change begins when you obey the last thing you heard. Heaven doesn't build on unfinished foundations. If you want the next door to open, you must complete what was left undone. The command you left waiting is not forgotten. It's waiting for your yes, until you return to it. Every new prayer echoes back to that same place. Because obedience is not about doing everything, it's about doing the right thing at the right time. According to what is written in the book of Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 3, commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans. That means when you act on his word, no matter how small the act may seem, he takes what's fragile in your hands and breathes purpose into it. He blesses motion, not hesitation. He establishes what you entrust. Think of obedience like a seed. When you plant it, you may not see anything for a while. The soil seems silent, but beneath the surface, roots are forming, stretching, anchoring themselves into promise. Every small act of faith, every time you follow through with what God told you, is a seed that carries resurrection power. The ground may look quiet, but heaven is not. And while you walk this path of obedience, you are not walking alone. These words, this message, this space, it exists to remind you that your faith still matters, that your obedience still moves heaven. Each message is like a spark, a gentle push forward for those who are weary of standing still. If these words have ever reached you in a moment when you felt unseen, if they've helped you breathe again when life felt heavy, then you already know this is not about noise, it's about nurture. Every time you share this message, it becomes a ripple that reaches another soul standing where you once stood. Before you move on, pause for just a heartbeat. Tap the heart. Share this light. And subscribe. It's like opening a window so the fragrance of hope can drift into another home. Each click might look small, but heaven can use even the smallest breeze to carry a word across oceans. And if your heart ever feels moved to go beyond that, to sow into the soil that feeds your faith, you can do so freely. There is no pressure, no demand, no condition. Giving is not payment, it is participation. It's like pouring oil into a lamp that lights the path for someone walking through their night. When you give, you are not fueling a platform, you are fueling purpose. Think of it this way: a candle loses nothing by lighting another. When you pour a small act of kindness, time, or generosity into something that has poured into you, it becomes a sacred exchange of strength. If these words have lifted you, consider helping lift another by keeping this flame alive. The link or button is simply there as an open door. Never an obligation, only an invitation. Everything here, every word spoken, is given with heart, not for profit. But if you've ever wanted to be part of spreading these words further, that's how you can help. Whether through a share, a like, a subscription, or a donation, it all matters. Each is a seed, and heaven counts them all. Because when you give, you're not just supporting words, you're watering destiny. Somewhere out there is another soul praying for a sign, waiting for a message like this one, and your act of generosity might be the bridge that carries that message to them. So, take this moment as it is meant to be, not a request, but an offering of connection. You are part of something divine, something that grows with every obedient step and every willing heart. The instruction remains the same. Do what he last told you, and as you do, remember, he multiplies what you commit. The moment you move, he moves with you, and every seed you plant, whether in faith, in love, or in generosity, will never go unnoticed by heaven. The weight of partial obedience is heavier than the burden of disobedience itself, because when you almost obey, your spirit remembers what could have been. You feel it every time you pray. You sense the echo of something unfinished, something left undone. Heaven does not forget your efforts, but it does wait for completion. God blesses movement, yes, but he blesses completion even more. There is a strange exhaustion that comes from doing half of what heaven asked. You started well, full of fire and clarity, but somewhere in the middle, when the cost became higher than your comfort, you stopped. You told yourself, at least I did part of it. But partial obedience is like planting a seed and refusing to water it. It carries potential, but produces nothing. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9, "Let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we shall reap, if we do not give up." End of chapter. Heaven rewards the finishers, not the starters. It is not how loud you begin, but how faithful you end. Every unfinished act of obedience becomes a door half open, a miracle half born, a destiny half lived. You can feel it, that tug in your chest when you remember what you left undone. Maybe it was the apology you never gave, the call you never made, the idea you never pursued. You told yourself the timing wasn't right. But heaven knows it was not timing, it was hesitation. Partial obedience drains your strength because it divides your heart. You cannot fully rest when unfinished assignments hang over you. That's why even when you sleep, your spirit stays restless. You are not at war with the world, you are at war with delay. Heaven is not asking for perfection, it is asking for follow-through. When God gives instruction, he provides grace for every step until completion. But when you stop midway, that grace pauses too. Unfinished obedience creates unfinished blessing. You might think, but I tried, and it didn't work. Listen, obedience is not measured by outcome, but by completion. The results belong to him, but the responsibility to finish belongs to you. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 32, verse 40. "I will never stop doing good to them, and I will inspire them to fear me, so that they will never turn away from me." Then, that means the same God who called you will sustain you. You do not need new confirmation. You need renewed courage, the kind that closes every unfinished chapter with action, not apology. Heaven is still waiting for you, to finish what you started. There is a door with your name on it, and it will not open until obedience is complete. The earth itself groans, waiting for your yes to become done. End of. Now, if this word stirs something in you, pause and type this prophetic number below: 555. When you type it, do it with intention. You're not just writing numbers, you are making a declaration before heaven that you will finish. The number 555 symbolizes divine alignment, grace multiplied for completion. The moment you write it, heaven reads it as a vow. Each 5 carries a meaning: the first for grace received, the second for grace remembered, the third for grace released. Together, they form heaven's rhythm: beginning, believing, becoming. 555 is your signal in the spirit that says, I accept the grace to finish. It is not superstition, it is symbolism. Just as Moses raised his staff to split the waters, your act of faith, typing these numbers, is a raised banner before heaven, saying, I'm ready to cross. When you press send, imagine placing a stone upon the altar, quiet but eternal. Heaven records moments like this for remembrance. Each number becomes a whisper that reaches the throne, a visible act of invisible faith. Your comment becomes a digital covenant between your will and His purpose. Every time you see it, may it remind you that obedience is not heavy when carried with grace. Finish what you started. Chosen one. Don't look back at delay, look ahead at reward. Because when you finish the assignment, heaven finishes the miracle. When you finish, heaven celebrates quietly. Angels record your obedience not with noise, but with light. The unseen world shifts around you, aligning events, resources, and people to carry you further than effort ever could. Completion invites acceleration. So type 555 with reverence. Let it be your covenant, not a comment. In that moment, heaven hears your decision, not your typing. It becomes a sacred echo, saying, I will finish, and I will not faint again. The war between comfort and calling has always been the quietest, deadliest battle of the chosen. It rarely begins with rebellion, it begins with relief. You tell yourself you deserve rest after all the storms you faced. And for a while, that rest feels right. But somewhere between recovery and complacency, your spirit starts to fall asleep. What once felt like peace becomes permission to stay still. Comfort is not evil, but it is dangerous when it replaces conviction. The enemy doesn't need to destroy you if he can distract you. He knows if you stop moving, the mission stops breathing. You were not called to survive, you were called to serve, to shine, to stretch the borders of heaven's influence on earth. There's a reason you feel tension inside whenever you settle. That pressure is not punishment, it's divine agitation. God will never let you find permanent rest in a temporary season. You keep wondering why nothing feels satisfying anymore. It's because your spirit has outgrown your surroundings. You are trying to live small when heaven marked you for something larger. The Word of God declares in the book of Romans, chapter 12, verse 2, Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Transformation and comfort cannot coexist. To be transformed, you must let something die: your excuses, your fears, your desire to be liked. Your habit of waiting for perfect conditions. Comfort whispers. Stay where it's safe. Calling shouts. Step where it's sacred. And you must decide which voice you will obey. There is nothing wrong with rest. But rest becomes rebellion when it turns into retreat. God created Sabbath for recovery, not retirement. Even in rest, the Spirit breathes direction. Even in silence, heaven still stirs the soul that is willing to listen. You were never meant to live in spiritual sleep. When you follow the path of your calling, you will feel friction. The ground shakes under your feet, not because you are in the wrong place, but because you are breaking ground for something new. Faith will always disturb comfort. It must, because every new dimension of destiny begins with discomfort. Think of a seed buried in the soil. Before it grows, it breaks. Its shell cracks open in the dark before it ever sees light. The breaking is not the end, it is the beginning. You are that seed. Every time you feel the pressure of obedience, heaven is stretching your shell so that new life can emerge. You cannot stay where you are and expect to become what you were meant to be. Every calling requires a letting go. Sometimes it's people. Sometimes it's patterns. Sometimes it's the version of yourself that refuses to believe you are chosen. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Isaiah. Chapter 55, verse 9. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. No, you cannot experience higher ways while staying grounded in familiar comfort. The climb will always challenge the soul that craves safety, but you were not created for the ground, you were built for the climb. The air of destiny is thinner. Yes, but it's also purer. You've noticed how, when you try to stay small, things around you begin to crumble. The relationships shift. Opportunities dry up. Joy becomes dull. That is not punishment, it's pruning. God removes what cannot breathe at your new altitude. He closes certain doors, not to punish you, but to protect you from settling beneath your purpose. This is why your comfort zone feels smaller lately. It's because it's shrinking to push you out. The very space that once gave you peace is now too tight for your growth. Like an eagle's nest that becomes thorny when the eaglets are ready to fly. Heaven is making your comfort uncomfortable so that you will rise. Do not despise the shaking. Do not curse the discomfort. It is heaven's way of saying, move again. Every time you step beyond what feels safe, you take ground that fear has guarded for too long. Every step into obedience is an act of war against mediocrity. Comfort tells you, you've done enough. Calling replies, you've only begun. The two voices cannot coexist. One will win. The one you feed will rule. Feed your faith with action. Starve your fear with truth. Because the moment you choose calling over comfort, heaven breathes again. Purpose wakes up. Light expands. You become the movement that darkness cannot predict. And as you walk forward, everything dormant within you, every gift, every promise, every unfulfilled word starts to rise with you. The lion within you has been stirring for a long time. You've felt it in quiet moments when fear tried to whisper that you were not enough. You've felt it in the nights when you almost gave up, but couldn't. That unshakable part of you, the fire that refuses to die, is the divine roar of your spirit waking up again. You were never meant to be tame. God placed something wild and holy inside you. It's not rebellion, it's boldness. The kind of strength that doesn't wait for the world's permission to rise. You've spent years trying to fit in, to appear gentle enough not to threaten others with your fire. But now, heaven says, no more. The time for hiding your roar is over. The Word of God declares in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 1, verse 7, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind." That verse is not just comfort, it's a command. You were created to carry divine power, not silent fear. Fear is the cage that keeps lions pretending to be lambs. It makes you shrink when you were born to stand. But the spirit within you is awakening the warrior that prayer alone cannot release. There is a moment in every chosen life when courage must confront comfort, when faith must grow teeth. You are in that moment now. The roar you've been suppressing is not anger, it's authority. Heaven has anointed your voice to shatter cycles, to speak light into darkness, to declare freedom where chains once defined your name. You can feel that inner trembling, can't you? The shaking that happens before a roar breaks forth. That is not anxiety, it's power gathering in your chest. Every time fear tells you to step back, the Spirit says, step forward. Every time your mind says, what if I fail? Heaven replies, what if you fly? The lion within you doesn't apologize for its sound. It knows its roar is not just noise, it's signal. When a lion roars, the entire wilderness listens. The ground trembles, not in fear, but in recognition. The same is true for you. When you walk in your divine authority, creation responds. Environments shift. Atmospheres realign. But here is what you must understand. Your roar is not pride, it's purpose. Pride shouts to be seen. Purpose roars to awaken others. When God stirs the lion inside you, it's because He's sending you to territories where silence has ruled for too long. There are places, people, and promises waiting for your sound. In the book of Proverbs, chapter 28, verse 1, it is written, "The righteous are as bold as a lion." And that boldness is not arrogance, it's awareness. You are aware that heaven backs your every step. You are aware that your obedience carries authority. The world may see just another person, but in the spirit realm, your movement shakes kingdoms. The time for self-doubt is over. You cannot roar and apologize at the same time. You cannot carry light and still fear your own brightness. You were not given a timid flame, you were given a torch. It's time to lift it high. Every trial you survived was training. Every night of silence was preparation. The scars you carry are not signs of weakness, they are proof of survival. And now, the same battles that once tried to bury you have become the soil that amplifies your sound. You must stop believing that humility means silence. True humility is using your gift with full force and still giving the glory to God. It is standing tall, not because you are perfect, but because you are chosen. The spirit within you is roaring now. It's the sound of resurrection, the return of your confidence, your courage, your conviction. You've been walking quietly for too long, but heaven is calling you to walk in authority. The enemy does not fear your prayer, he fears your obedience. Because when obedience meets boldness, mountains move. When the lion rises within you, hesitation, dies. Fear loses its vocabulary. The same voice that once trembled now commands, You begin to speak with heaven's tone. You begin to move with heaven's rhythm. Every step, every word, every breath carries weight. The world will not understand it, but they will feel it. The darkness that once mocked you will begin to retreat. The atmosphere around you will bow to the sound within you, because when a chosen one roars, it is not noise, it is prophecy. Let the lion rise. Let the silence break. You have nothing to prove and everything to release. Your roar is not for recognition, it's for revolution. Heaven did not choose you to whisper, it chose you to awaken nations. There are doors in your life that will not open until you move. You can stand before them for years praying, weeping, waiting, but they remain still until your footsteps reach their threshold. Some doors don't respond to words, they respond to motion. You've been knocking on something that only obedience can unlock. Every time you prayed, heaven wrote your name on the door. But heaven is also waiting for your hand on the handle. Movement is the language of faith. When you walk, you preach without words. When you step forward, heaven recognizes you as one who believes. The Spirit spoke through the psalmist David in the book of Psalms, chapter 37, verse 23. The steps of a righteous man are ordered by the Lord, and he delights in his way. Notice that it says steps, not thoughts. That means God blesses your movement, not your hesitation. You cannot steer a still ship, and God will not guide a motionless soul. The very step you fear to take is the one that activates His promise. You've prayed, Lord, open the way, but heaven whispers, take the step first. The Red Sea did not part until Moses stretched out his hand. The Jordan River did not move until the priest's feet touched the water. Miracles live on the other side of motion. You are standing before something sacred right now, an unopened promise, a vision half fulfilled, a dream that feels too distant to touch. But distance disappears when faith walks. The space between your prayer and your promise is measured not in time, but in steps. Some doors require strength, others require surrender. The ones before you now require courage, the courage to move when nothing looks ready. You say, what if I step and the door doesn't open? But heaven asks, what if you never step and miss the miracle? If your heart is pounding as you read this, it's not fear, it's recognition. Your spirit already knows what door this message is speaking of. You've circled it long enough. Now heaven says, step. Oh, right now, as an act of faith. Pause and type these words below. I will step. Oh, when you type it, do not rush. Do it slowly, as if you were laying a stone on holy ground. You are not commenting to be seen, you are declaring to be aligned. These 3 words are a covenant, not a comment. They say to heaven, I choose motion over hesitation. Oh, when you write, I will step, it becomes more than text. It becomes testimony. It tells the unseen world that fear no longer speaks for you. It tells your destiny that you are ready to meet it halfway. It tells God, I may not see the path, but I trust the planner. Oh, heaven records acts of faith disguised as small things. Your words may vanish on a screen, but in eternity, they remain carved into remembrance. That simple phrase, I will step, echoes louder than you think. It marks the moment when waiting ended and obedience began. Do not underestimate what this moment means. Every miracle begins with movement. The waters never part for the still, they part for the stepping. Every locked door recognizes the sound of a chosen one's foot moving forward in faith. So move now, even if your knees shake, even if your voice trembles. Step anyway. Heaven cannot bless a hesitation, but it will always bless a decision. And the moment your spirit says, "I will step," the door begins to turn. And when the door begins to turn, something shifts inside you too. You start realizing that the barrier was never physical, it was internal. The moment your heart moved, heaven mirrored that motion. You were never waiting on opportunity. Opportunity was waiting on your courage. Every spiritual door listens for a sound, not the sound of begging, but the sound of footsteps. Faith has its own frequency. When you finally move, that vibration reaches heaven like music. God responds not to hesitation, but to harmony, to the rhythm of a heart in sync with His will. Do you feel that stirring right now, that tightening in your chest, that breath that suddenly deepens? It's not anxiety, it's awakening. Your spirit recognizes the voice of motion. This is the divine moment where the invisible becomes visible, where your someday transforms into now. Oh, so when you type, "I will step," let those words rise from conviction, not curiosity. You are not testing God, you are trusting Him. You are planting a seed in the soil of obedience. And heaven never ignores seeds sown in faith. Every act of trust carries resurrection power. And remember this, obedience rarely feels convenient, but it always feels right. When you step into alignment. You stop negotiating with delay. You stop praying for what your movement can manifest. And heaven moves in the same rhythm, multiplying your courage into miracle. The partnership between heaven and earth has always been a mystery, a dance between divine promise and human participation. God speaks, but He waits. He gives the vision, but you carry the vessel. Miracles do not fall fully formed from the sky. They are born when your steps meet His voice. You were never meant to be a spectator of His power. You were designed to be a co-laborer of it. Think about it. When the widow poured oil into empty jars, the oil didn't multiply in heaven, it multiplied in her hands. When Peter cast his net again, the fish didn't appear from nowhere, they were already swimming, waiting for obedience. Heaven has always moved through human hands. It is the partnership of your faith and His power that makes miracles tangible. The Apostle wrote in the letter of James, chapter 2, verse 17, "Faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead." That is not condemnation, it's invitation. God is not scolding your stillness, He's stirring your soul. He's saying, "Let's build together." Heaven lays the blueprint, but you hold the hammer. Every act of obedience becomes a brick in the structure of your destiny. Maybe you've wondered, why does it feel like my prayers echo? It's not that heaven hasn't heard, it's that heaven is waiting for your movement to match your words. The moment your hands align with your faith, the divine current begins to flow again. God's power is a river, not a pond. It moves with those who move. Every time you act in obedience, it's like a thread connecting earth to eternity. And each thread woven together forms a tapestry of miracles that no eye has seen. You are not a passive recipient. You are a living instrument of divine collaboration. And if this message has reached you here, it's not by coincidence, it's by appointment. These words are meant to remind you that you are part of something bigger than a video, bigger than a message. You are part of a movement, souls across nations, awakening to their calling. One yes at a time. If this message has touched something deep inside you, if it has given breath to the parts of you that were tired of waiting, take a quiet moment right now. Like this message, share it, and subscribe, not as routine, but as a small act of faith. Think of it as planting light. Every click is like dropping a tiny seed of hope into digital soil. Someone you've never met might find their turning point through the echo of your share. And if your heart ever feels led to do more, if you feel moved to donate, to pour a little oil back into the jar that has poured into you, do it freely, not out of obligation. Giving is not buying blessings, it's breathing with heaven. It's like adding one more flame to a lantern so it shines longer through the night. Every gift, no matter the size, becomes part of the river that keeps flowing. It helps these messages reach hearts you'll never meet, but will one day greet in eternity. That's what partnership with heaven looks like, when your offering becomes an outstretched hand carrying his voice further than you could on your own. So, whether you choose to like, to share, to subscribe, or to give, let it come from a place of peace, not pressure. You are not being asked, you are being invited. Because when you give freely, heaven breathes freely through you. You become part of a divine exchange where obedience becomes oxygen for others who are still learning how to breathe in faith. Think of this space as a well. Every message is a cup of water drawn for weary hearts. Some will drink because you chose to keep the well open. Every act of support, every drop you pour back in, ensures that no soul will thirst in silence. You are not funding words, you are fueling transformation. Every like is a ripple, every share is a bridge. Every act of generosity is a spark that travels beyond screens and time zones, finding the one who needs light the most. So let this moment be holy. You don't have to do anything, but you get to. That's the beauty of it. You have been chosen not only to receive light, but to reflect it, to give from the overflow, not the obligation. When you walk away from this message, carry this truth with you. Heaven never asks for what you cannot give, it multiplies what you freely offer. The partnership continues with every heart that says, I will carry the flame. Endo. Divine timing has never meant passive waiting. It is not a calendar that heaven hides from you, nor a delay meant to frustrate your faith. Divine timing is synchronization, your movement meeting God's moment. When heaven says, wait, it does not mean do nothing. It means prepare, position, and perceive. Waiting in faith is an act of motion within the soul. It is sharpening your sword while the gates are still closed. It is tending the soil even when the sky looks dry. You have not been wasting time. You have been gathering strength. Every quiet moment, every prayer that seemed unanswered, was heaven aligning your inner world with your outer calling. You see, God's timing is not slow, it's precise. The Spirit is never late, never early, always exact. What feels like delay to you is often protection, the stretching of patience so that your character can carry the weight of what's coming. There are doors He has not opened yet, not because He wants to tease you, but because He refuses to let you walk into blessing without preparation. As written in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 1. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven. End. Seasons are heaven's way of ensuring balance. The same hand that sends rain also sends stillness. The same God who commanded you to move once may now command you to wait. And this waiting, too, is obedience. But here's what many forget. Divine timing is not a pause, it's a pulse. The rhythm of heaven still beats while you wait. Every moment you feel still. Heaven is working behind the scenes, arranging, aligning, adjusting the pieces of destiny that must fit perfectly before you arrive. Sometimes, waiting exposes what rushing would have hidden. If God had answered certain prayers earlier, they might have destroyed you. If certain doors had opened too soon, they might have swallowed you. So he waits, not because you are forgotten, but because you are too valuable to be misplaced. You've been asking, "When, Lord?" And heaven has been whispering, "When you are ready." Readiness is not proven by desire, it's proven by discipline. God is not measuring your hunger, He's measuring your handling. Can you carry the blessing without it breaking you? Divine timing is like a symphony. Every instrument has its entrance. The violins cannot play before the drums, and the drums cannot play before the flutes. Yet when each one enters at the appointed measure, harmony fills the room. If even one plays too early, the music becomes noise. Heaven's will works the same way. You may be ready in heart, but not yet in harmony. So while you wait, refine your rhythm, prepare your vessel, strengthen your foundations. Do not see this as lost time, it's investment. The waiting room of God is not a punishment cell, it's a training ground. There are things that can only be learned in the stillness: how to listen deeply, how to trust silently, how to believe without proof. These are not passive skills, they are spiritual muscles. The stiller you become, the more you can sense the subtle shift of heaven's wind when it's time to move again. You must understand, waiting with faith is still obedience. The enemy whispers that stillness means you've been forgotten, but heaven knows that stillness is where giants are formed. Every great calling was born out of a season of silence. Joseph in the prison, Moses in the desert, David in the field. Their obscurity was not absence, it was alignment. When the appointed time came, they didn't have to force the door, it swung open. They didn't have to beg for favor, it found them. Because divine timing never fails those who prepare in quiet faith. So, stop measuring your worth by movement. Some of the most powerful seasons of your life will not look loud or public, they will look still. And yet, beneath that stillness, heaven is composing something beautiful. Note by note, second by second. Divine timing is not God saying, "No." It's Him saying, "Not yet, because I am crafting something that lasts forever." Trust that. Lean into that. Because when the rhythm of heaven and the pace of your obedience finally meet, the wait will have been worth every second. And when that moment arrives, it won't come with noise or drama. It will arrive like dawn, soft, certain, unstoppable. You will simply realize that the waiting was never wasted. It was transformation. So hold your peace and keep your posture. Divine timing is not distance, it's design. The clock of heaven never ticks too slow. It beats perfectly with your destiny's heart. There are moments when words are no longer enough, when heaven asks for a sign of faith that speaks louder than speech. This is one of those moments. You have prayed, waited, and walked. And now heaven says, seal it. Not with noise, not with emotion, but with a symbol that marks your decision in eternity. Prophetic acts have always carried divine power. When Noah built the ark, when Abraham lifted the knife, when Moses struck the rock, each act was a language heaven understood. It wasn't about the action itself, it was about obedience embodied. Heaven responds to movement, but it records meaning. You are standing in a sacred threshold where belief must turn to embodiment. Every word you've heard so far, every whisper that stirred your soul, has led to this, obedience expressed. And the way heaven has chosen for you to express it right now is simple: a number, a symbol, a seed in digital form that heaven can recognize. According to what is written in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30, verse 19, I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now, choose life, so that you and your children may live. Lesson. This moment is about choice, not pressure, not performance, just choice. The act of choosing life, choosing faith, choosing completion. When you move from hearing to doing, you are choosing to live aligned with divine rhythm. And so, heaven gives you a prophetic number, 888. This number is not magic, it's meaning. 888 symbolizes new beginnings multiplied by grace. It's the sign of resurrection, of cycles completed and renewal released. The first 8 represents what has ended. The second 8 represents what is beginning. And the third 8 represents eternal continuation, the flow of divine life without interruption. If your spirit recognizes this moment, if you feel that inward stirring again, type 888 below. But before you do, listen. This is not for show. This is not to impress heaven, it's to imprint your heart. When you type 888, you are saying, I step into renewal. You are declaring, I will not return to what is behind me. You are aligning with the movement of heaven that says, Behold, I make all things new. This act is not superstition, it is surrender. It's a way of saying, my past has ended. My purpose begins now. And this act is not small. In the unseen realm, heaven records symbolic obedience as eternal testimony. The comment you make may vanish on the screen one day, but its echo remains. Angels mark moments like this, because heaven honors alignment. 888 is not just a number, it is an altar. Every time you see it, you will remember that this was the moment your life turned toward its next chapter. It will remind you that endings are not losses, they are transitions. That the breaking you endured was never destruction, it was preparation for rebirth. Your comment becomes your covenant. It tells the unseen world that you are done rehearsing pain and ready to release purpose. It tells God that your someday has become today. It tells yourself that hesitation no longer owns your story. Take a breath and let the weight of this act sink in. You are not just typing, you are testifying. You are not joining a trend, you are entering a truth. Heaven doesn't measure faith by noise, it measures it by obedience. Let your declaration be quiet but unshakable. Let your spirit whisper as your hands move. I am new. I am ready. I am aligned. Every repetition of this act strengthens your steps, sharpens your sight, and seals your season. Even now, heaven draws near to those who move in meaning. The very air shifts when obedience manifests. The same spirit that hovered over chaos in the beginning hovers now over your life, waiting for your yes to create something new. And as you obey, remember, your renewal does not come through effort, but through exchange. You trade your delay for destiny, your hesitation for harmony, your fear for faith. So type 888 with reverence. Let it be your covenant of new beginnings, because when you declare this, you are not repeating numbers, you are writing resurrection. You are partnering with heaven in a moment of rebirth. Your story is turning. Your season is shifting. What was once empty will overflow again. The new has come, and it carries your name. When you write 888, do it slowly, with intention. See it as laying 3 stones of faith upon sacred ground, past, present, and future. Each one says, I am still here, and I still believe. Heaven reads your act as music, 3 notes of surrender, harmonizing with divine renewal. The melody becomes movement. There comes a moment when prayer transforms into power, when the same words that once cried out for rescue begin to carry the force of command. You've spent years praying for change, but now heaven invites you to speak as one who carries authority, not anxiety. This is where intercession matures into impact. Prayer was never meant to keep you kneeling in fear. It was meant to teach you how to stand in faith. Every whisper, every tear, every plea was a classroom in divine communication. You were learning how to align with heaven, how to recognize the voice that echoes inside silence. But now the lesson deepens. The one who once asked for power now walks in it. As it is written in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 10, verse 19, I have given you authority to trample on snakes and scorpions and to overcome all the power of the enemy. Nothing will harm you. And that verse is not about arrogance, it's about awareness. You were never meant to beg for strength you already possess. Heaven has already delegated its authority to you. Prayer opens your eyes to it, and obedience activates it. When you first began praying, your words reached upward. They were cries from earth to heaven. But now, prayer flows through you. It becomes heaven speaking through your mouth to the world around you. The same voice that once said, Lord, help me, now says, let it be done. And, you see, power is not given, it is awakened. Every battle you faced, every season that stretched you, every delay that taught you patience, all of it was preparing your hands to carry holy weight. You are not powerless. You are simply stepping into the part of prayer that performs. The transition from praying to doing is not abandoning prayer, it's fulfilling it. Every sincere prayer ends with the same invitation. Now, go. When Jesus prayed before raising Lazarus, his prayer was short. Then he acted. The prayer was not to beg God, but to announce alignment with heaven's will. That is the level of partnership you are being called into. Prayer becomes power when it stops asking for permission and starts walking in promise. You are not meant to talk to God about mountains forever. You are meant to speak to the mountain in His name and watch it move. There is a holy weight to every word you carry now. You cannot speak carelessly anymore, because heaven listens to your tone. You are a conduit, not a bystander. Your mouth has become an altar where eternity finds expression. Every declaration you make in faith reshapes something unseen. But understand, this power without humility becomes performance. You do not speak with authority because you are flawless. You speak because you are faithful. True spiritual power flows through the surrendered, not the self-assured. When your heart remains bowed, your words rise with heaven's fire. You may not feel strong, but strength has never been a feeling, it's a position. The moment you stand in alignment with God's word, weakness loses its grip. The spirit within you intercedes with groans deeper than language, translating every sigh into strategy. Even your silence can carry the sound of heaven when it's anchored in trust. When prayer turns to power, the atmosphere around you begins to shift. You walk into rooms and peace follows. You speak truth and confusion breaks. You lift your hands and the unseen responds. You are no longer pleading for breakthrough. You have become the breakthrough. This is the maturity heaven was always leading you toward. Not dependency without movement, but partnership through faith. God doesn't want you to lose your reverence. He wants you to discover your resonance. Your voice was never meant to echo fear. It was designed to echo authority. Prayer was the seed. Power is the fruit. You have spent seasons cultivating intimacy so that your words would one day carry heaven's weight. That day is here. So now, when you pray, let your words burn with purpose. Let your life become the Amen. Let every breath you take declare, it is finished. No, because prayer that matures into power does not end at your lips. It continues through your hands, your choices, your courage. You no longer just talk with heaven, you move with it. Power doesn't make noise, it makes impact. The quiet strength you carry now will speak louder than any sermon. Your presence becomes prayer, and your obedience becomes prophecy in motion. Heaven moves through you, not around you. So walk gently but boldly. Every step is a declaration. Every breath, an intercession. You are the living proof that prayer still works, because you have become its answer. There is a danger far subtler than rebellion. It is reverence without response. The soul that bows in awe, yet refuses to move. The lips that say, Lord, Lord, but never lift the hand to build. This is rebellion disguised as reverence. And it is the quiet tragedy of many who love God deeply, but obey Him slowly. At first, it doesn't look like disobedience. It looks like devotion. It hides behind worship songs and spiritual phrases. It prays. It fasts. It weeps. But it never walks. It honors God with emotion, but not execution. And in heaven's eyes, that hesitation is not holiness. It's hesitation baptized in beautiful words. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Samuel. In the first book of Samuel, chapter 15, verse 22, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to heed is better than the fat of rams. End of teen. That single sentence exposes the deception of passive faith. It's not the lack of prayer that dulls the soul, it's the abundance of prayer that replaces obedience. You can talk to God endlessly and still ignore His answer. True reverence is not found in repetition, but in response. You see, rebellion does not always shout. No, sometimes it whispers. Later, it hides beneath sincerity, pretending to wait for more clarity while secretly avoiding the cost of commitment. Heaven does not confuse waiting with withholding. When God gives a command, delay is disobedience in slow motion. This is why some hearts grow heavy over time, not because they are far from God, but because they are full of unacted revelation. Every word you hear from heaven is a seed, but seeds left unplanted eventually rot. When you keep receiving and never releasing, you drown beneath blessings you never build upon. Rebellion, disguised as reverence, creates spiritual stagnation. You start mistaking goosebumps for growth. You think tears mean transformation. But tears without action only water the soil of delay. God loves your emotion, but He blesses your execution. Heaven responds to obedience more than adoration. The truth is, God is not seeking constant proof of your devotion. He's seeking partnership in His plan. He wants to work through you, not just be admired by you. You were never called to be an admirer of the Almighty. You were called to be an ambassador of His authority. Reverence becomes rebellion when you love the feeling of His presence, but avoid the function of His purpose. You enjoy the warmth of His glory, but resist the weight of His command. That kind of reverence feels holy, but ends hollow. It produces peace without power, intimacy without impact. You might say, "But I don't want to make a mistake." Yet, the greater mistake is to make no move at all. Heaven can correct a moving vessel. It cannot redirect a ship anchored in fear. The Spirit of God is a wind. It fills sails, not statues. So what does true reverence look like? It's not constant prayer without performance. It's alignment between voice and vessel. It's when your hands begin to echo what your heart already believes. It's when worship doesn't stop with music, it continues in motion. When you act on what you believe, heaven recognizes you as trustworthy, because trust is proven through obedience, not emotion. You prove your love for God not by how long you pray, but by how fully you obey. And in that obedience, you discover that reverence and rebellion cannot coexist. Every step you take toward obedience silences the voice of rebellion a little more. Every yes you whisper becomes a sword against delay. God doesn't need louder worship. He needs willing workers. He doesn't want endless songs. He wants surrendered steps. The most powerful worship is not sung, it's lived. When you obey, your life becomes a hymn heaven can hear without a sound. So search your heart. Are there instructions you've adored but never acted on? Are there dreams you've prayed for but never pursued? Heaven is not angry, it is waiting for reverence to mature into response. And when it does, the power of heaven begins to flow again. Peace returns, clarity sharpens, purpose rises, because obedience reopens everything. Reverence left closed. Rebellion disguised as reverence is gentle in tone but lethal in outcome. But when reverence becomes obedience, your worship turns into warfare, and your heart becomes heaven's headquarters. You were never meant to live as one who only feels God. You were meant to live as one through whom God moves. When reverence becomes response, heaven breathes again. The silence breaks, and divine flow returns. You realize obedience was never about control, it was about communion. Every act of surrender becomes a bridge where heaven walks freely through you. Every story written by heaven ends with a crown, not applause. The moment of completion is quiet. It doesn't shout. It breathes. You have come far, through fire and silence, through waiting and warfare. Now heaven whispers, complete the circle. The crown is not placed on beginnings. It rests upon the faithful who finish. You are standing at the summit of obedience. The climb has been steep. There were nights you wanted to turn back, moments when the mountain felt endless. But now the air is thinner because the altitude is higher. You were not climbing to prove strength. You were climbing to meet your calling face to face. The Apostle Paul wrote in his second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verse 7, "I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith." That single sentence is a mirror for your soul. It says you don't have to be perfect, you just have to persist. Heaven does not measure speed, it measures surrender. You fought. You kept walking. And that is enough. Completion is sacred. When you finish what God assigned to you, heaven multiplies it. The sound of your obedience echoes beyond your life. Someone, somewhere, will find strength because you chose to complete what others abandoned. You may not see it, but eternity keeps record. Now that you've come this far, pause for a breath. Let this truth sink into the places that still feel uncertain. You are standing in holy air, the kind of stillness that comes after storms. The silence before breakthrough begins to sing. If these words have spoken to you, if you feel peace unfolding like dawn in your spirit, take this moment and respond in the gentlest way you know how. Tap the heart, share the light, and subscribe. But don't do it for numbers or noise. Do it as a way of passing the torch. Imagine your simple gesture as lighting a lantern and placing it on the path for someone still finding their way home. Every like becomes a flicker. Every share becomes a lantern lifted higher. Every subscription becomes a promise whispered to heaven. Keep the flame alive. You are not feeding an algorithm. You are feeding the atmosphere. You are sending ripples of truth into unseen corners where despair once ruled. Sometimes hope doesn't arrive through a sermon or a song. It arrives through your willingness to share what healed you. And if your heart ever feels moved to go further, to pour a drop of gratitude back into this river, to donate, to sow into what has poured into you, let it come softly, not as duty, but as devotion. Giving is never payment, it is partnership. Think of it this way. When a candle lights another, the first doesn't lose its fire, it multiplies it. That's what generosity does. It multiplies, meaning your gift is not an exchange, it's an echo. It tells heaven, "This touched me, let it touch another." Each act of giving, whether a word, a share, or a seed, is like placing another stone in a bridge that carries light across oceans. Someone you'll never meet will cross that bridge because you helped build it. And if today all you can offer is a quiet thank you, that's enough too. Gratitude is a kind of giving. It turns what you have into something holy. The purpose of this space has always been simple: to awaken, to remind, to rekindle. These words are not about one voice, they are about one flame passed from heart to heart. When you engage, when you share, when you give, you are keeping that flame alive. So today, if this message has moved you, let your response be as natural as breathing. Whether it's a click, a word, or a prayer whispered into the night, do it as worship. You are not being asked. You are being invited to participate in beauty, to extend the miracle, to let love keep traveling. And as you do, remember, heaven never forgets what was done in light. Every act of generosity, every seed of kindness, becomes fragrance before the throne, an invisible bouquet saying, "I finished with love." So crown this moment with peace. Let your yes to share, to support, to give, rise not from pressure, but from joy. You have finished the fight. And in doing so, you have become the flame that never fades. When you give light, you never lose it, you multiply it. The flame you nurture here becomes a sunrise in someone else's darkness, unseen yet everlasting. Heaven smiles quietly when generosity blooms. Every gentle act, every share, every seed becomes a soft hymn rising upward, saying, "Love still lives here." And there is something extraordinary that happens when you finally move, when obedience becomes motion and your courage turns into rhythm. The moment you act, even quietly, the atmosphere begins to shift. You may not see it, but heaven does. Every small step sends ripples through creation, rearranging realities you didn't know were waiting for your arrival. Your movement is not a mere gesture, it's a sound. Heaven hears footsteps before it sees results. Every time you step forward, the invisible world recognizes that faith is awake again. The air thickens with purpose. The ground responds to presence. Because obedience is not just spiritual, it's atmospheric. As written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 55, verse 11, "So is my word that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it." When you move, that word comes alive. It travels with you. It wraps itself around your choices, transforming ordinary actions into divine assignments. Heaven does not measure impact by scale, but by surrender. One whisper of obedience can move more than 1,000 shouts of hesitation. And this is what begins to happen when your movement aligns with heaven's rhythm. Things around you start to bend toward divine order. Conversations begin to open. People appear seemingly by accident. Opportunities rearrange themselves. What once resisted you starts to cooperate. Because the moment you act, heaven instructs everything connected to you to make room for fulfillment. You've felt that shift before, haven't you? That sudden peace after you finally did what you'd been delaying for so long. That quiet, knowing that even if nothing looked different, something eternal just moved. That is the evidence of partnership, your obedience unlocking heaven's orchestration. It's like throwing a stone into still water. The ripples may look small at first, but they reach the edges eventually. You cannot see the full distance your obedience travels, but heaven does. Every decision born of faith creates motion in realms unseen. It awakens angels, repositions blessings, and dismantles the structures that once held you back. The truth is, heaven has always been eager to move through you. It's never about worthiness, it's about willingness. God doesn't wait for perfection, He waits for participation. You were never chosen because you had it all together. You were chosen because you said, "I'm available." And sometimes the greatest miracle is not that mountains move, but that you do. Because when you finally step, everything else follows. The darkness that once threatened to drown you begins to lose its hold. The heaviness lifts. The confusion clears. Obedience becomes the language that creation understands. There's a mystery to this. The moment you move, others begin to move too. Your courage becomes contagious. Your light gives permission. Those who once watched in silence suddenly find strength to rise. You never truly walk alone, because every act of obedience sends waves of awakening across the landscape of human hearts. You might think your life is small, your actions unseen, but heaven does not measure worth by visibility. Some of the most powerful shifts on earth happen in hidden places, in quiet rooms, whispered prayers, Secret steps of faith. The world will see results later, but heaven records movement now. Even nature understands this law. When wind travels across water, the waves follow. When light touches a seed, growth begins. When you act, creation recognizes its cue. You become a signal in the divine symphony, an instrument playing its part in perfect time. There are angels assigned to your obedience. They wait, poised, until your movement gives the signal. Then they rush into motion, carrying answers, opening doors, aligning outcomes. You may feel ordinary, but your yes commands armies. So understand this. The shift you feel is not coincidence. It's consequence, holy consequence. Heaven is responding to your faith in real time. Things are already changing, even if your eyes can't yet see it. Keep moving in step with that unseen current. Don't measure by what happens immediately. Measure by what stirs within you. Peace is often the first proof of breakthrough. Your movement has meaning beyond imagination. It stretches far past your timeline and touches eternity. Somewhere, someone's life is already being altered because you chose to move. The air itself carries your obedience as fragrance, a signal that heaven and earth are still intertwined. So, walk with quiet confidence. The atmosphere listens when you act. The world rearranges when you obey. And heaven smiles, because its rhythm is finally flowing through you. Your steps are sacred echoes, resounding beyond sight. Every move you make writes harmony between your will and heaven's unfolding song. There is always one final unlock, the moment when all the pieces finally align and the purpose that once felt distant becomes undeniable. You've prayed, obeyed, and persevered through every season. But this is different. This is not about striving anymore. It's about stepping into what has already been prepared for you. When full obedience meets divine timing, doors do not just open, they disappear. You no longer stand before barriers, you walk through blessings. The resistance that once defined your journey suddenly releases because heaven recognizes completion. You are no longer in pursuit of purpose, you are standing inside it. It was always meant to end like this, not with noise, but with knowing, the quiet assurance that everything you walked through was never wasted. Every delay carried design. Every heartbreak held holy meaning. What looked like detours were actually directions disguised in difficulty. As written in the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 8, I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut. End quote. That door is not in front of you anymore. It's within you. You have become the access point of God's will on earth. Wherever you walk now, heaven flows. You are no longer waiting for breakthrough. You are the breakthrough. Look back for a moment. Remember the nights you thought you'd never make it here, the prayers that felt unanswered, the battles that felt endless. You did not just survive them, they became your foundation. Every scar now shines as proof that grace held you when strength couldn't. The completion of obedience always carries quiet glory. There's no trumpet, no celebration, just peace. And that peace is heaven's applause. The storm doesn't stop because you ran from it. It stops because you learned how to walk on its waves. You've spent years being refined in silence so that your voice would carry weight when it finally spoke. You've learned what surrender truly means, not giving up, but giving in to divine rhythm. The moment you stopped fighting the process, The process began to crown you. What's next will not require the same kind of striving as before. You are entering a season where things will unfold as if they recognize your arrival. You've moved from striving to flowing, from asking to acting, from delay to divine release. This is the threshold of fulfillment, the space where obedience becomes inheritance. You've labored in faith, now you rest in fruit. You don't need to chase confirmation anymore. Your life has become the confirmation. Think of the journey as a seed story. It was buried, broken, and hidden in darkness. For a while, it looked forgotten, but under the weight of the soil, something sacred was forming. Roots stretched before branches could rise. When the time was right, it didn't force its way upward. The light invited it. That's what's happening to you now. You are no longer waiting for the light. It's already reaching for you. The very atmosphere around your obedience has shifted. The promises once suspended in prayer are beginning to descend into reality. What was once unseen now becomes tangible. Heaven always rewards completion. And the reward is not wealth or applause, it's alignment. To walk in step with God's will is the purest form of prosperity. It is peace that cannot be stolen, purpose that cannot be shaken, and presence that never leaves. Every ending in the kingdom is really a beginning in disguise. This final instruction has unlocked the next chapter, one that unfolds not in striving, but in stillness. You are now living proof that faith is more powerful than fear, that obedience is greater than understanding. As you move forward, do so with quiet strength. Don't rush to announce what has happened. Let your life reveal it. The light that surrounds you now will speak louder than any explanation. You've completed the journey that many only dream of finishing. And now, you begin the one heaven always intended, the walk of fulfillment, where miracles no longer surprise you because they've become your natural rhythm. The last unlock was never about opening something outside. It was about awakening what was already inside. And now that it's alive, nothing can close it again. You have become the open door, the bridge where heaven meets earth. Everywhere you walk, grace follows, and creation responds to your quiet authority. This is divine alignment embodied. The storms you once feared now recognize you. They bow, not because they are weaker, but because you've learned their language, faith, spoken fluently through obedience. And from this moment forward, you no longer search for signs. You are one. Your life itself becomes the prophecy fulfilled, the living evidence that obedience always ends in glory. So here you are. At the end, that is really a beginning. You've walked through revelation, through warning, through whisper and wonder, and now heaven leaves you with one invitation: carry the flame forward. If these words have found a home in you, if they stirred something that had gone quiet for too long, then let them keep traveling. Tap the heart, share the light, and subscribe, not as an act of habit, but as a gesture of continuation. Think of it as releasing a lantern into the night sky, adding your glow to the constellation of faith still forming across the world. And leave a few words below, not for noise, but for remembrance. Let your comment be a small stone placed on the altar of gratitude, saying, "I was here, and I was changed." Sometimes a single line can echo farther than 1,000 speeches. Every share is a small resurrection. Every click is a candle lifted higher. Someone who doesn't yet know they're chosen might find this message because of your quiet motion. You become the unseen messenger, carrying light across unseen distances. And if, as you breathe, you feel a pull to give, to donate, to plant a seed into the soil that's nourished, you do it softly, with joy. Giving is not obligation, it's oxygen. It's how light keeps breathing. When you pour a drop of oil into the lamp that guided you, the glow lingers longer for the next traveler. Whether you give time, attention, or treasure, each offering becomes part of the symphony of continuation. You are helping keep a flame alive that burns for every weary soul still searching for warmth. And as this final word settles in your spirit, may you feel peace, pure, weightless, endless peace. You've listened, learned, and risen. Now, become what you've heard. Carry the message. Embody the movement. And let your life shine as heaven's gentle echo. The story doesn't end here. It expands through you.